I'm getting ready.
Okay.
Hi, hello. Good evening. And my name is Dr.otubea. Today I have two lovely ladies with me. I have Mimi with me and I have Amma with me. And we are so blessed to be here to talk, have a very good discussion, share our experiences, and also, put messages across for all women. We are so blessed to be here once again. So my name is Dr.otubea, and as usual, it's about child care, securing lives, and improving well-being. So I would ask my very beautiful guests. You should see them. Very, very beautiful guests to introduce themselves. So Mimi, can you introduce yourself first?
Yes. Okay. I'm Miriam Mabla Anani.
Right.
I'm a fashion designer.
Yeah.
And I'm a survivor too.
Right. And second on the panel, I have Amma. Hi, Amma.
Hello, my name is Amma. I'm a survivor and I'm a journalist as well. Glad to be part of this meeting.
Exactly. So I'm happy to have you here today. I want to ask briefly, I don't know who will take the 10 first, whether Mimi or Amma. Any of you start off with what your survivor stories is about. Stories, and in our 5 minutes or 10, share with us.
Okay. Please, must it include the treatment and everything, or just
anything about the survivor story you think may be relevant for other women will be key.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. I was diagnosed 2 years ago,
right.
March 2020, but I found a lump in my breast in 2019 October. So
right.
when the doctor examined me in the beginning, he was saying it's breast abscess. So after the first round of investigations, they didn't really diagnose cancer. They said breast abscess, and I was breastfeeding too. So the doctor put me on amoxiclav. But still, the lump was there. Later on, he said he wants us to seek another
opinion.
We should yes, another opinion. So we went to he took me he asked me to go to 37. I should take the sample picked to 37 for the result of the biopsy. And then after that, he gave me another sample to take to Pathologists Without Borders.
Right.
So it was at this time that these two results came out the same: grade 3 invasive carcinoma.
Yeah, it's one of the most
common. So the day,
cancers.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So the day he gave me this diagnosis, in fact, it seemed as though life had ended for me. Like, I started feeling dizzy in the consulting room. So at the Cocoa Clinic, so the doctor kept encouraging me that relax, it is well. I want to refer you to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital immediately. I was crying, and he told me that he knows a lot of survivors. So I should just have it in mind that I can make it. I should go, and the tumor was quite big. So he said I should go so that they can put me on chemo immediately. I was crying. I couldn't believe it. So I got there, and I got there on a Tuesday, and I started on a Wednesday.
Hello, am I there? Okay.
So when I started in March 2020.
Okay, so
Was
your
when
baby
I was
was
diagnosed. And then
how old? Ama, your baby was how old?
When I was diagnosed, my baby was a year and 3 months old. But when I found the lump in my breast, it was just 11 months old.
Okay, right.
So when I found the lump, the first diagnosis didn't mention cancer. It said breast abscess.
Right.
So the doctor gave me amoxiclav.
Right.
For like 2 months, I was on amoxiclav.
Right.
So later on, he said no, he suspects something else, so we should do biopsy. So he took the sample and gave me one to be taken to pathologists without borders, and another sample to 37 to see a different pathologist at the 37 military hospital. But
Right.
unfortunately, both he referred me from Coco Clinic to the breast clinic at Kolebu.
Right.
That was where I had 8 cycles of chemotherapy. After the 8 cycles, I had surgery, and after surgery, I did 16 rounds of radiotherapy. It was not easy at all, especially with the first 4 cycles of chemo. I took a certain chemo called AC, if I can remember the name very well. Hey, it was very horrible. After each cycle, I had to be admitted at the hospital to be given some treatment that will reduce the side effects.
Wow.
It was horrible,
Wow.
continuous vomiting and all that. Yes, I took AC4, and after the 4 ACs, they changed it to Taxol. And surprisingly, the Taxol, though, was not easy, but I felt better with the Taxol than the AC. Like, it didn't make me vomit too much. It didn't make me so weak to the extent that I needed to be hospitalized. Like, but one of the doctors called Dr. Dede was saying Taxol is even stronger than AC, so she doesn't understand why I'm saying AC was very hard on me as compared to Taxol. But I thank God I was able to go through it, and it's been 2 years now, and I'm hoping that these scary stories about recurrence will never be my portion in Jesus' name.
Amen.
It hasn't been
to
easy,
that.
but my word of encouragement to my fellow women who might be going through this breast cancer issue is that they should go through this treatment. Like, it is curable. Cancer is curable. So they should please go to the hospitals and stop going to different places. Maybe sometimes you would decide not to take the chemo and rather want to use the easy way, like herbs, because by the time you come back from the herbal hospital, because those concoctions haven't worked, it might be too late. It might be too late. So my advice to them is that, like, they should have the courage to face it, because breast cancer is curable and beatable. That is my message.
Yeah. Ama, thank you so much for sharing your story. I've been through a journey of asking women to share their stories. And even when I spoke to you, I realized that, my story is a bit similar to yours. So I also experienced some form of breast disorder. Doing breastfeeding, which also was treated as a normal disorder. Like, yours was, they said it was an abscess. Mine, they said it was an infection. So I was on antibiotics. I always say that the stories about women in survival, it always has to do with the intervention of God. Let me put it that way. Because to be on just antibiotics for about a long period of time and have life, you know, is just a gift of God. I think so. I think one of my questions to you will be that what will be the one precaution that you would tell other women out there, especially young women who have had babies or who are looking to having babies and all that? What would be the one, you know, precaution for them? What aren't they doing? What should they be taking notice of? And how does that inform your survival story in any way? Am I
Realize there is anything abnormal about your breast and you go to the hospital and the doctors keep telling you it is nothing, you should force them to at least take a sample, like they should squeeze the breast and take some of the liquid that is coming out of the breast to go and do further tests, because I had a lot of miscarriages in the past. So like there was still some breast milk like fluid in my breast. So anytime I started seeing this fluid since 2016. So I never stayed home without like reporting it to the doctors. And anytime I go, they tell me that, oh, it's because of the miscarriage. It's because of the miscarriage. The pregnancy progressed to a certain point and then you lost the baby. So that is why it will stop. The milk will stop. I was in Takrady then, the western part of Ghana. So I moved from Takrady. We were transferred to Accra. When I came to Accra, so I kept going to the Cocoa Clinic to tell them that since 2015 that I started getting miscarriages. Even if I'm not pregnant, even when I'm not pregnant, I still find milk in my breast. Still, they were giving me that same story. It is nothing. And because I was ignorant, I didn't even know there was something like breast clinic at the clinic. If I had known then, I would have asked them to refer me to the breast clinic.
right?
They kept telling me nothing until it became a lamb. Until it became a lamb before they got worried and had to do biopsy. So my advice to young women is that when you experience any kind of abnormality, don't take it's normal, it's nothing as an answer and be okay. You have to force the doctors, it's your right. Let them conduct further investigations, at least if they can get something, whether flesh or liquid, whatever it is from the breast, whatever is making the breast look abnormal, they should at least try and ensure that they will take something out of that breast and take it to a pathologist to rule out cancer. I
Yeah.
always say that if
And
the
even
doctors had
scans.
listened,
I mean, they can have scans.
I would have asked them to take, yes, scan too.
Right.
And they would have just, if I had known that we have breast specialists in this country, like at the breast clinic,
Right.
I wouldn't have wasted time with these doctors. I would have just asked them to take me straight to the breast clinic. No breast specialist will take milk from breast for granted, like will take it lightly. They would definitely want to investigate further to find out why someone who is not pregnant is still producing milk, even though the person has had miscarriages in the past. So that is the advice I'll give my fellow women. And in case they are diagnosed, they shouldn't be scared. It is scary, but breast cancer is beatable.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, you're 32. So when you had breast cancer, how old were you?
I was 29 when I found the lump, but when I was diagnosed, I was 30.
Okay. Did your treatment include mastectomy, which is the removal of the breast?
Yes, please.
Okay, and
Yes,
then
double
mastectomy.
Yes.
You are very courageous.
Only one was affected.
Yeah.
Only one breast was affected, but
Yes.
they said because it's the aggressive type and it's triple negative, they advised I take the other one to reduce my risk of recurrence.
Recurrence. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're a very brave woman. You're a very, very brave woman. The stories of cancer and women and surviving is, I mean, I'm a psychologist, so I tell the women that I encounter that, look, it's a psychological journey. It's more of a psychological journey than a medical journey. And coming to terms with understanding the new you know, how did it feel for you to look into the mirror the first time with both breasts off? How did it
I
feel?
cried.
Okay.
I cried. I felt very bad.
Right.
But later on, I realized that if you have everything,
Exactly.
because some of these things we can't explain. But if you have life, you should always learn to be grateful to God for every situation that you find yourself.
Absolutely.
Because there are people who are battling cancer and wish they will exchange their breasts for good health.
Right. Yeah.
What about
Absolutely.
those who lost their limb because of cancer? What about that? And those who lost their lives too. So I'm okay now, even though sometimes I feel bad and blame the doctors for the delays. I'm okay. I try to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Amma, thank you very much for sharing this with us. What support systems do you have around you? What support systems? You are married, right?
Yes.
Is your husband supportive?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And
my family.
Your parents?
Yes.
Okay.
They were very supportive.
Right. I always ask about the support systems because, even in recovery and hello, Amma, can you hear me?
Hello.
Me for you as a woman. What has been the interesting part? I mean, it could be sad, it could be what has been the interesting part for you?
The interesting part to me is like now I have come to appreciate life more than I used to. Like when you have plans for the future, let's say example, you have some clothes that are so special to you that you don't want to wear. You don't want to wear now, you want to wait until Christmas or Easter or when you are invited to a party before you wear them. Now I don't do that too. Anytime I feel like getting something new for myself, I go ahead and buy it irrespective of the time, because tomorrow is not promised to anyone. This experience has given me a totally different perspective about life. I got married in 2015 and I had a lot of clothes, the clothes that they added to my dowry.
Yeah,
and I had packed them since 2015.
Yeah.
Yes, they were in my Ecolac, full with different underwears and those stuff.
Yeah.
When I was diagnosed during treatment, I sold all. I asked myself, so why am I keeping all this? And I'm not the only woman who is fond of doing this. A lot of women. So now if you open my engagement Ecolac, you won't find anything inside because I've sold all. And I'll wear it now because tomorrow is not promised to anyone. So that's the interesting part of this whole thing.
Right. What about the role of God in understanding the workings of God? When I talk to other breast cancer women who have survived breast cancer, there's always that feel of spirituality, an experience with spirituality, coming close to death, and getting over to the other end and appreciating what it means to get close to death and just live again. Let me put it that way, you know. What do you say to that? Especially with regards to spirituality. What has been your experience? Hello, Amma.
Hello.
Amma, can you hear me?
Hello, Doc.
Yes. So
yes, I can.
Okay, so in terms of spirituality in this journey, what has been your experience?
It has drawn me closer to God because I feel God gave me a second chance. I know people I was on treatment with, some were battling grade 2, some to grade 1, and I was battling grade 3 breast cancer. But this young lady who was part of my group, like, unfortunately, she's not doing well now. 1, 2 has passed on, sadly. So I feel like God gave me a second chance, and he deserves to be appreciated. Like, I'm supposed to live the rest of my life to please him, even though that was what I've been doing all my life, but now I do it better. I do it better because I realize it's not as if I'm better than those whose cancer had not advanced to where my got to when it was caught. But unfortunately, I couldn't make it, and I am here. It has made me appreciate God the more, and it has really affected my prayer life positively. That is what I can say.
Right. Lisa, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Is there anything you'd want to leave? Any advice, you know, take home message you would want to throw out to breastfeeding mothers, young mothers, or other breast cancer survivors, you know, out there?
All right. Yeah. My advice to them is that, like, especially the survivors, we should be very careful about diet. Even though we cannot always say we would make sure we avoid junk food, we should ensure that we change our lifestyle permanently. Like, we shouldn't say, oh, the junk foods that we eat, we should continue eating them, and then maybe once in a while we will eat healthy. We should make sure the healthy foods are more than the junk foods. Also, we should make sure we don't find ourselves in situations that affects our emotional well-being, because sometimes if you go through psychological and emotional stress too much, it affects your health. So let's try and avoid things that will make us sick. Let's keep good company. Let's pray more. And also, I would advise mothers to help their teenage daughters examine their breast, because I saw a teenager at school when I was on treatment. He was also having breast cancer. So the mothers too should ensure they help their teenage daughters examine their breasts. They should educate them about some of these things. That is what I would say. And then with the herbal too, when you realize you have this kind of issue, please rush to the hospital. Don't go to any other kind of herbalist or whatever. Just stick to the approved treatments, because many went through it and they survived. You will not be an exception. This is my advice.
Thank you, Amma. You know that by sharing your story, you also empower so many other young women out there, and I'm very happy to have you share your story. And I want to tell everyone that, I mean, the stigma must stop. If the stigma stops, I'm sure we would have young women show up their faces everywhere, even when they've been through the ordeal. You know, the stigma must stop. We say that don't stigmatize don't stigmatize anyone who has been through. I think the experience is with cancer, and I think breast cancer or the reproductive disorders worsens it because, you know, there's a whole social cultural aspect of it, especially related to breast, you know, and perceptions of it and how it informs womanhood and all that, you know. And when I've counseled young survivors around that, that has been one of my salient points, is that, look, like you rightly said, it's a whole journey of embracing yourself, you know. And when I asked you about how you were able to face the mirror and accept your new body, we know that it doesn't come easy at first hand, you know. But as you progress, as you begin to build emotional competences for yourself, you know, in terms of understanding and appreciating your journey and what it means to you and how it redefines life and living and well-being for you, then you begin to focus on the more positive aspects, you know. And you mentioned life, having life and all that. And I want to say a big, big thank you, Amma. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. So I run an organization called PsyCare, and we are essentially into women's health advocacy. And we do a lot more on breast cancer advocacy and screening. I mean, last year we did screening the whole of the month. Last 2 years as well. October, the whole of October, we have, you know, free screening for women. And we also do, we try to bring survivors together and also support people on treatments. Last year, we supported some women on, the women that we supported over the years, unfortunately, we've lost each of them. The last one we supported, she was just 32. Yeah, breast cancer. We lost her last year. But we are happy to contribute to the living. You know, once they are alive, we are happy to contribute, we are happy to counsel, and we are happy to provide other forms of support. Yeah, and with stories like yours, then we get to change the narrative and work around destigmatization and empower women mentally, emotionally, and psychologically as well, so that they begin to understand some of the changes that the body goes through and how to embrace some of these changes, and also how to seek for professional support as well. Medical support, psychological support, or, you know, dietitian, seeing a dietitian, or any professional that may be relevant for the journey. We try to provide an experience with them. So thank you so, so much. God bless you.
You're welcome, Bob. God bless you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.